Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Real Estate Playbook. My name's Andrew, and today I'm going to share with you what's called the rule of twos and how this philosophy can help you save time, energy, and a whole lot of headaches as you are getting ready to purchase your next home. And essentially, the rule of twos is a general rule of thumb of what documents you're going to need to upload for an underwriter to approve your loan. And essentially, you want to know what documents you need before you even get the loan process started, just so you can get that headache out of the way. You know, there's a majority of documents that you're going to need no matter what. And if you can just tackle those in the front end, then it doesn't have to be such a dragged down process as you're going through this. Because a lot of times people are just getting frustrated and they may wonder, what other things I need to upload? Well, here's the things that you need to upload. So let's first start out with your income, because depending on how your income is classified, you're going to have to upload different documentation. So let's just start with the most common. Let's say you're a W-2 employee, you work for somebody, and that's how your pay is structured. So if this is you, you're going to have to explain a 2-year work history. Essentially, what have you been doing for the last 2 years when it comes to working? So have you been working at the same place for 2 years? That'd be great. If not, then we need to explain, what were you doing before your prior employment? Were you working at a different job? Were you still in college? Were you doing something else? Were you on maternity leave as a mother? What things did you have going on? Because the underwriter just wants to see, a full picture of the last 2 years of what you've been doing and just demonstrating that you are actively employed to repay this loan. So you're going to need that, a 2-year work history, and that will come in the form of your W-2s or a written explanation letter sharing what you've been doing. You've got that. And then you're going to need to upload your last 2 pay stubs. Right? You're going to have your last 2 pay stubs if you're paid bi-weekly or twice a month. You're going to have that. And then kind of going further into a W-2 employee is if you are someone who receives commission income or bonus income, or maybe you work overtime. If you're that individual, you're going to have to upload your last 2 years of your year-end pay stubs. And basically that's just showing, how consistent is that pay. And then basically that will get averaged out. So essentially just bullet points from if you're a W-2 employee, you're going to need your 2 pay stubs, your 2-year work history, and then your year-end pay stubs if you receive any of those variable incomes. The next main form of employment would be somebody who is self-employed, somebody who's a business owner, someone who is doing their own gig, right? And the documentation that you're going to need, if this is you, you're going to need your last 2 years personal tax returns. You're going to need your last 2 years business tax returns. You're going to need your last 2 years profit and loss statements. And then lastly, your last 2 years of your balance sheet. And yes, this is a little bit more documentation than somebody who is, employed by somebody. But essentially what the underwriter wants to see is they want to see trends through your income and your business, and they want to make sure that it's not declining. So that's why they are requiring that for the last 2 years. So again, if you're self-employed, those are the documents you will need to get an approval from an underwriter. And another main common type of income that many people have is rental income. So if this is you, again, you just need to upload your last 2 years personal tax returns if that's where it's being filed. Or if you have it in a holdings company, then you need your last 2 years business tax returns and the other business documentation for that situation. So now that we have the income documents taken care of, let's jump right into the next topic, which would be your assets. And for your assets, you're going to need to supply your last 2 months bank statements if your down payment is coming from a savings account, coming from a checkings account, coming from a money market, anything where the funds are liquid and you receive a monthly statement, you're going to need the last 2 prior statements. Now, if your funds are coming from, you have funds in mutual funds or retirement, or you're using things that are, you're getting a quarterly statement, you're going to need your last 2 quarterly statements if that's what you've been provided. So those are the main documents that you would need for your assets. So there you have it, guys. There's the main documents that you're going to need to get an approval on a loan, whether you are self-employed, whether you're an employee, whether you have rental income, and then depending on what your different asset classes are. So just summarizing all this together, you're going to need to upload basically the last 2 of anything that the underwriter is asking you for. So if it's pay stubs, it's 2. If it's tax returns, it's 2. If it's bank statements, it's 2. If it's your work history, it's 2 years. So everything flows in a pattern of 2, which makes it really easy for you to remember. But again, if you can just knock out all this stuff and you know what they're going to ask you, you can just save that time, that energy, and those headaches as you're getting ready. So thank you guys for watching here. I hope this was helpful. And if this was valuable, and only if, please feel free to share this to somebody who you know who is getting ready to purchase their next home and help them save, again, that time, energy, and headaches as they're getting ready to purchase a home. So thank you guys for watching. Stay updated for more mortgage tips and tools. I'll see you next time.